Welcome back to Nourishing Your Athlete and Essentials for Fueling the Female Athlete. We did a quick introduction and then we talked about period essentials, and now again we're in the essentials for fueling your female athlete. We are just going to quickly talk about macronutrients. Those can be broken down into carbs, protein, and fats. And then as I scroll down here, you'll see that we're also talking quickly about micronutrients. So it's just as they sound: macro, big; micro, small. Starting out with carbohydrates, this is your main source of energy for fueling your muscles. You've probably heard just from your high school biology classes that there's simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple are not ideal. They're going to lead to your blood sugar spiking, crashing, spiking, crashing, spiking, crashing. So if you are always, let's say you eat cereal for breakfast and it's like a Frosted Flakes, your blood sugar is going to spike and then it's going to crash quickly. And so then you're like, okay, I need something. So you go to the school vending machine and you get a Snickers. It's going to spike, you're going to feel better, and then it's going to crash really fast. Then you have to go to practice. So you grab a bag of chips, spike, you're done with practice, crash. So you're constantly in this spike, crash, spike, crash if you're eating a lot of simple carbohydrates. If they're complex, you're going to have more of a steady blipping. Okay, so those carbohydrates are going to affect your blood sugar because a carbohydrate is a sugar across the board. There's simple sugars and there's complex sugars. So carbohydrate is essentially a sugar. It's going to affect your blood sugar up and down. Complex doesn't lead to the spikes and dips. It just is more of an ebb and flow. Okay, it has fiber with it, so that leads to a slower burn versus the simple spike, crash fast. Okay, so we really want to minimize or be thoughtful about minimizing simple carbohydrates. They're just the quick hit, not a lot of nourishment in there. It's going to make you feel crappy. That low is where you feel crappy. Complex carbohydrates, healthy sources would be vegetables, berries, quinoa, sweet potato, oatmeal, brown rice, steel cut oats, banana. So if you notice, super easy way to analyze if it's a healthy carbohydrate is it real food? Or am I grabbing a wrapper? Am I grabbing a boxed item? Where's it coming from? Closest source to real food is what would be most important. Again, packaged items are going to create probably much more of a spike than something that is more real and natural food, like the healthy sources listed in the box here. When you're deficient in a carbohydrate, you become slow, you become weak, your cognitive ability declines. So you probably have all experienced a time where either you're at practice or a long competition and you just start to hit a wall. This is exactly what it is. You are depleting your carbohydrate resources and you no longer are able to properly perform. Okay, slow, weak, cognitive decline. Therefore, you're not going to communicate well with your teammates. You're not going to be able to contribute the best you can if you're not eating healthy sources or enough healthy sources. Just quickly, why gluten-free versus why not gluten-free? So when I was in high school, the big rage was being fat-free. If it was fat-free, it was perceived as healthy, which is just so wrong in its thinking. And so I'd like to point out here, same thing with gluten-free versus not gluten-free. It's kind of the rage as of right now is if it's gluten-free, it must be okay, which anytime something is labeled free, so whether it's sugar-free, fat-free, gluten-free, something typically needs to be added in order to make that satiable or enjoyable or taste good. So a lot of times it's just going to be a lot of added extra sugar type items. So I just like to point out that don't work to not get on things that are, again, restrictive in any way, again, all gluten-free. Some people have to be gluten-free because they have celiac or something similar. I have a gluten sensitivity, so I am mindful about the gluten I eat, but instead of going for a gluten-free packaged item, I'm going to go for a gluten-free oatmeal. Oats are naturally gluten-free. However, a lot of times they're harvested next to wheat fields. So that wheat blows into the oats, and then it's hard for a lot of oatmeal to be labeled as gluten-free. So if you like oatmeal but have a gluten sensitivity, just make sure the package says gluten-free on it. It doesn't mean that it's made any different, it's just harvested differently. So again, gluten-free versus not gluten-free, just be really mindful about the packaging. You just want to go as close to the source as possible. If you have gluten sensitivities, things like brown rice or white rice is fine. Those are naturally gluten-free. Again, oatmeal, if it says gluten-free on it, is naturally gluten-free. So just really go as close to the natural source as possible, and then you'll be in good shape there. Our next macronutrient is protein. Protein, if you are looking to build muscle, which I think as athletes, we're all wanting to make sure that we at the very least aren't utilizing or breaking muscle down and not building it back up, you must eat protein. So protein helps cell growth and helps cell repair. So when we're working out, we're essentially making small little tears in our muscle. We're shredding muscle. In order to repair that, we need to have protein, and that's where the build comes. If you're not having protein, you are not going to get that build. You're just going to be shredding and not repairing. So make sure that you have nice, healthy sources of protein in order to build your muscle. Again, if you don't, you're just going to be tearing and not repairing. Healthy sources would be eggs. We love eggs in our household, grass-fed beef, salmon, fish, chicken. So any type of meat is going to be a protein source. Make sure that you're working hard to get the highest quality meats that you can. We're a big fan of that, working hard to get high quality products into our household, which means that we might make sacrifices elsewhere so that we can get high quality foods into our home. When you're deficient, again, because we're not repairing our muscle, you're going to get injured and you're going to have impaired muscle growth. So protein is really, really important in the female athlete diet. Again, all the macronutrients are. These are the reasons they're important, is what we're breaking down here. Again, macronutrient of fat, it's a vitamin and mineral transporter. So these things are, vitamins and minerals are riding along on healthy fats and getting them to where they need to be. Fat is an energy source for an endurance athlete. So volleyball is kind of considered an endurance sport because we're playing for such long periods of time. So not only are there quick bursts of activity, there's also long extended periods of activity throughout the whole day when we're in tournaments. So this is where healthy fats come in. Healthy fats would be grass-fed butter or ghee. Ghee is helpful for individuals who don't do well with dairy products. Avocado, nut butters, olive oil, nut seeds, coconut oil. We've talked about all those before. When you're deficient, you typically are going to have deficiencies because we talked about fats carrying vitamins and minerals along to places they're needed in your body. You're going to have menstruation issues. So that goes back to the period information that we talked about before. So healthy fats, again, are not going to make you fat. Healthy fats are important for your body to function properly. And then finally, micronutrients. Vitamins transform carbohydrates into usable energy. Healthy options, leafy greens, sweet potatoes, berries, oranges. Minerals transport oxygen. Healthy option, again, leafy greens, bananas. Micronutrient of fiber helps maintain a healthy gut bacteria. Gut is your second brain and it's an immune supporter. So just quickly touching on that. So when I work with clients on their nutrition, we always focus on their gut health. Gut health is extremely important to your overall well-being and feelings of well-being. So I definitely like to recommend a good quality probiotic for people who are not on one. That really helps with your gut bacteria being healthy. We all have bacteria. It's going to stay there. We want it there. However, if it's out of balance, we're not going to feel well, and that might lead to diarrhea. It might lead to constipation. Any type of bowel issue is a gut health imbalance. So a good quality probiotic can be really helpful to help that second brain, which is your gut, and the bacteria there be as healthy as possible, which then leads to feelings of well-being. So if somebody is coming to me and complaining about feelings of anxiousness, we're always going to work on rebuilding their gut health. Because it is your second brain, and there is that mind-body connection with your gut to your brain. So we always work on gut health when there's feelings of anxiety. And a good start, again, is a good quality probiotic. And then water. I am very I have an issue with drinking water. I just don't drink typically anything. So I have to be very mindful about getting a glass, keeping a glass with me throughout the day so that I just take small sips. As an athlete, you should be carrying water with you wherever you go. When you're at school, hopefully they allow you to have water with you while you're at your desk. I know my kids just have to have a clear bottle with them, but definitely make sure that you are having water with you all the time. Okay. It makes up 50% of your body and helps with macro and micronutrient absorption. So very important. Okay, once you pop back for your next video, we're going to talk about the timetable of performance. So when to eat, what to eat, and kind of your timeline. So interesting stuff. So pop back and we will talk about that in the next video.